Okay, so if you're working anywhere near Azure data lately, there's probably one big question that's been popping up, maybe even causing some confusion.
Oh, yeah. Which one's that?
Is Microsoft Fabric actually replacing Synapse Analytics? I mean, it feels like a major shift.
Right. That's definitely the conversation happening. And
I-
look, it's a valid question, but I think framing it as replacing might not be quite right. It's more, well, an evolution.
An evolution. Okay, I like that framing because understanding this evolution feels pretty critical, right?
Yeah.
Especially for planning future projects or even, career direction.
Absolutely. You've got Azure Synapse Analytics, which, let's be honest, has been the workhorse for a while now. Data warehousing, big data, ETL, it brought those
It
together.
was the established platform.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And now enter Microsoft Fabric. It's different. It's sauce-based, built for really deep integration, aiming for simpler management, and it introduces this concept of OneLake, a unified data lake.
Okay, so that's the setup. For this deep dive, then, we need to unpack that. Where does Synapse fit into this new picture? And maybe more practically for all the data engineers listening, what actually changes day to day?
And what stays the same? That's important too.
Good point. What stays the same? Let's dig in.
So let's cut right to it. Fabric doesn't just kick Synapse to the curb, it essentially absorbs and enhances it. Think of it like building a brand new, smarter house, but using the really strong foundations of Synapse Data Factory and Power BI.
Okay, so the foundations are familiar, but the structure around them is new, more integrated.
Precisely. It's designed to make everything work together much more smoothly, less jumping between different services, hopefully less management overhead.
You mentioned OneLake. That sounds like a core piece of this new structure, a single logical data lake.
It really is central. The idea is to have one data lake for the whole organization, logically speaking. No more wrestling with, 10 different storage accounts for different projects or teams.
That alone sounds like a big deal. Managing all those storage accounts can be a real headache.
It can. And Fabric introduces something called shortcuts within OneLake. Imagine you have, say, terabytes of sales data. Instead of copying it for your Spark team, your SQL team, your KQL analysis.
Right, which happens all the time, creating multiple copies.
Exactly. With shortcuts, each of those engines, Spark, SQL, KQL, can access the same underlying data in OneLake without making copies. It's like a pointer.
Ah, so it's about efficiency and consistency. Everyone uses the single source.
Huge efficiency gains,
Yeah.
potentially, and everyone's working off the same up-to-date data.
Okay, but for someone who spent years mastering Synapse, the SQL pools, the Spark notebooks, the pipelines, does Fabric mean throwing all that knowledge out?
Not at all, and that's a key point. Those familiar Synapse experiences, they still exist within Fabric.
Oh, okay, so they're in Fabric.
Yes,
Yeah.
SQL pools, Spark notebooks, pipelines, they're now components or experiences within the unified Fabric workspace. The big difference is the delivery model is SaaS now, and the tight integration.
So the tools are familiar, but the environment is different, more cohesive.
That's the goal, a more streamlined platform where these tools work better together.
Let's drill down a bit. SQL warehousing in Synapse is massive for many organizations. How does that translate to Fabric?
Still absolutely vital. In Fabric, the SQL warehouse capability operates directly on Delta tables stored in OneLake.
Delta tables, right? That open source format adding reliability to data lakes.
Exactly. So you get that robust SQL engine working directly with versioned, reliable data in the central lake. It simplifies the data flow, potentially speeds things up.
And Spark for the big data workloads. Still a first-class citizen.
Definitely. Spark is still incredibly powerful in Fabric. The integration with the Lakehouse items in OneLake and the notebook experience is significantly tighter. It feels more unified.
What about data integration? Synapse pipelines based on Data Factory.
Yep, Fabric uses that same robust Data Factory engine for orchestration. So the pipeline capabilities, are there.
But the UI is different,
The-
integrated into Fabric.
Right, it's part of the Fabric Workspace UI. And they've also introduced Dataflow's Gen 2, which offers a more, let's say, low-code approach for certain data transformations, building on Power Query.
Okay, so for the data engineers tuning in, it sounds like the message is your core skills, SQL, Spark, building pipelines are still absolutely essential.
Fundamental, totally fundamental. But to really thrive in this Fabric era, there are a few key areas to focus on.
Like what? What should they be learning or focusing on now?
First, really get your head around the OneLake model and how Delta Lake fits in. That's foundational. Second, get hands-on experience with the Fabric workspace itself. Explore the different experiences for data engineering, data science, BI.
Makes sense. Anything else?
Yeah, understand how Power BI connects using direct lake mode. That's a big performance story. Power BI analyzing data directly in OneLake without importing or copying. It's fast.
Direct Lake. Got it. No data movement for BI.
And lastly, there's a mindset shift. You're moving away from managing specific infrastructure like dedicated SQL pools towards managing overall capacity within the Fabric SaaS service.
Right, a shift from provisioned resources to consumption-based capacity. For upskilling, any specific pointers, certifications.
Microsoft has the DP600 certification specifically for Fabric Analytics Engineer. That's a good target, but honestly, nothing beats building something.
Practical experience.
Absolutely. Try a small end-to-end project, use Spark to process data into a Fabric Lakehouse, then load some of it into a Fabric warehouse, then build a Power BI report on top using Direct Lake. See how it all connects within that single workspace.
That sounds like a great way to learn. Now, shifting gears slightly, what about the view from, say, a technology leader's perspective? Is Fabric something they have to adopt right now?
Have to is strong, but it's very clearly Microsoft's strategic direction for analytics on Azure. Leaders should definitely be evaluating it.
What are the key benefits for them to consider?
Potential for lower infrastructure overhead is a big one because it's SaaS. Faster cross-team collaboration because of the unified platform and OneLake. And potentially simplified governance, having things in one place with integration with tools like Purview.
So if a leader decides to move towards Fabric, what do they need to plan for?
Key things would be developing a migration roadmap for any existing Synapse assets, creating a solid governance plan for OneLake, who owns what, how is data secured, and thinking about a talent strategy. Skills might need to broaden to cover this more integrated landscape.
And I suppose partners can help bridge that gap, define architectures, maybe help with the upskilling.
For sure. Strategic partners like Curate, for instance, can be invaluable in navigating that transition, designing the right architecture, and building up the team's capabilities.
Okay, wrapping this up then.
Yeah.
If there's one core message to take away from this deep dive, what is it?
It really isn't Synapse versus Fabric. The way to think about it is Synapse within Fabric. It's an evolution, a reimagining of the analytics platform by Microsoft.
And understanding that evolution, getting hands-on, means you can really lead the way in this next phase of data engineering on Azure. For anyone wanting more detail, we'll link the full blog post in the show notes. And of course, subscribe for more deep dives on unified analytics.
Thanks for tuning in. Let's keep building smarter, faster, and definitely together.